I just wanted to say that I've got a brand new, safe, self-contained, temporary, well, in the interim, place to go to. And as I said, I don't know what that is. No thanks. Naked women popping up. Go away. I don't know what this is. I think popping up. Yeah, I'm just so relieved that I don't have to go, that I don't have to share. And or go to the Salvation Army or Matthew 25. So, yeah. I obviously have to be careful what I say so that I don't give it, obviously I don't want anyone on YouTube to know where I am, obviously. But I'll be going there tomorrow. Obviously I'm very upset about, I've been very upset and confused and angry about things because of everything that's been happening. I'm just documenting everything, really. Well, it was never in my mind to ever set up a YouTube channel, ever. Never, ever wanted to set up a YouTube channel. I'm a technophobe. I'm a technophobe, and you can tell I'm a technophobe. Just have a look at the first video I ever made. It's got no sound, and that was just days before I was beaten on Beachy Head. I was documenting, and 2 hours I spoke, and there was no sound. And the rest of it is very crudely made with a camera and a laptop, but not an iPhone. I wouldn't know how to use an iPhone. I can barely use a laptop, It's amazing. I can do any of what I'm doing. It's an absolute miracle. Such a technophobe. But it was never in my mind I never wanted to set up a YouTube channel. I never wanted to do this. It was out of desperation. I just thought and it's just as well, really, because that first live stream I made was around the same time. That was in the Citrus Hotel. That very first live stream that has that YouTube video that I made, my first YouTube video, there's no sound because I didn't know how to make a YouTube video. It's talking for 2 hours, and it's around the same time that that Caroline Ansell emailed me and the local MP, and just days, and around the same time, the local government ombudsman emailed me, and days later, I spent £2,000 on that hotel for my safety, and I was being threatened by a hotel guest. You tell me. And then beaten on Beachy Head, waiting to be served a cup of tea, had my calls terminated, dragged out of the pub, beaten, taken and stripped naked, sectioned, and then trafficked to the very place I've been keeping away from for my safety. So that's my very first YouTube video. So just so you know, you can look at my first YouTube video. That's what happened. On the phone to the local government ombudsman, social worker threatened by a hotel guest, phone police calls terminated, up to Beachy Head, crying, distress, waiting to be served a cup of tea I never got, dragged out of the pub, beaten, stripped naked, thrown to a cell floor, stripped naked, sectioned. No, there's no local government ombudsman reference. We're going around in circles. Hang up. Section, all of that. Worthing, psychiatric hellhole. I was carried out of the section 136. I had this deranged, vile Dorothy screaming in my face, and I was saying to her what my rights are, and I was telling her what my rights are, and I was carried out by two men. I looked like a proper mental patient, whereas they were the mental ones, in bare feet, in hospital pajamas. That's why the next YouTube video, I'm in hospital pajamas. Is that the same time? Was that this? Or was that when I met John Patterson? I can't remember now. But I was carried out in bare feet into a van. Contractors like Serco to Worthing, back again, forced. I was also coerced into taking a PCR test. You can't come out of your room unless you take this PCR test, and that's illegal. Like being illegally forcibly injected. I don't consent to it. I don't acquiesce. So what you're doing is a hangable offence under Nuremberg trials. Just saying, that's what John Patterson said. So anyway, and that's how I ended up at Belmore Road. And then I was slandered in the paper as having beaten the police. And then the Serco thing, 24 hours of non-stop torture after being arrested for doing things like recording evidence from my local government ombudsman claim. And then, but then kind of just going through all this hell to get where I am. And, I don't know if they're doing this deliberately, but understandably, I'm thinking, look what we've got for you, brand new. They'd literally just two men, with power drill thingies. We're just finishing it off. All new. Look, it looks very nice. Yeah. A mini stove thing, kitchenette with a fridge, own shower and bed, and that's very nice. And then but I'm going back to where I was before, which has changed. I've done sort of a circle of the town. So the phrase "we're going round in circles," I really literally have been going round in circles. Do you know what I mean? So, but are they doing this to make me feel guilty? Like, because I hate this. I hate this feeling of, I'm so blessed. I should feel guilty. No, no, you shouldn't. They've put you through all of this. They've illegally discharged duty to you. They've put you through fraud and corruption over 6 years. They've made you sleep rough. Why? No, you're not going to do that to yourself. You're not now going to feel guilty for what they've done to you and now giving you what they should have given you in the first bloody place. Not that I'm ever going to get support with my mental health. I mean, that horse bolted from the start. But it's that feeling that they give you of, oh, feeling of guilt. Oh, you got, not that anybody's made me feel guilty. I, of my own accord, have thanked Karen very much. I felt very uncomfortable having to be extra firm. Look at the weight I'm putting on. I've had see the size of the pizza that I had with garlic bread and I've got to get rid of that. As my eldest sister used to say to me when I was little, she'd go, Buddha tummy, Buddha tummy. That was before I was I was never into Buddhism and New Age BS, but I remember thinking, what's a Buddha? So the first time I saw Buddha, I was like, oh, Buddha tummy. Buddha tummy. I was never fat. But anyway, so yeah, I'm feeling it now. But anyway, so it's that feeling of guilt, though, that I shouldn't really have. But it's nice, spacious. I mean, obviously, I haven't sort of, I've stepped foot in it, obviously. But I've had an awful lot of dark. It's just earlier today I was feeling very suicidal, even though paramedics were here, were called to me because of people on YouTube. I was still feeling very suicidal today. But as I said to Karen, having a place of safety is so important. It's not just having a roof over your head. You need to feel safe. Number one on the list, safe. Obviously, that includes health and safety, and is it clean, and the place you're in, is it, there's nothing nasty in there, but safety. But I had to be on my own because of everything that's happened. I cannot be around people. They've created this. The police they've created this. I mean, I think I've got OCD that I know for life now. OCD that I don't know if it was always there, but I was never anything like what I am now. I never would be like, I was tidy and clean, but never uber clean. Can't get so much as a tiny bit of dirt on here, and that's caused by stress. That is caused by prolonged stress, I think, and trauma, and that, and the clutter thing is, of course. So anyway, but I was thanking Karen because I said, look, it doesn't sit comfortably for me to have to get so firm with someone, and I kept to put but she knows that. She knows I'm not shouting at her, just like the woman from victim support. And it must be stressful then working on victim support, because I'm guessing they have so many calls. Obviously, with the current climate, they have so many people they need to listen to all over the country with all their problems. And, I can talk for England +1, I could be here till kingdom come, and everyone knows that. I mean, one of the idiots who arrested me said, this one doesn't stop talking. Yeah, but it's not funny though, because of all the torture they put me through. They give me more to talk about, do you know what I mean? So, I'm just talking to a screen, but I know I'm not, because thankfully it's nice to see I'm getting the odd thumbs up. But even if I didn't, I'd still, if I had a bazillion dislikes and no likes, or no viewers at all, I'd still talk to the screen, you know, because it helps me. And to hell with it all, you know. I talk to myself anyway, so it's good to actually talk to, even if it helps someone else, then that's a good thing. But it helps me to get some affirmation, if anything. So anyway, there we are. I just wanted to try and keep this short. But yeah, Karen was very nice, because I said, you know, like the woman from Victim Support, they have to listen to so many people. But she said to me, "You're very welcome." Because she said to me, I said, I cannot go to the Salvation Army. And I felt bad saying it, but I was like, no, they did. And she said, I'll do my best. So I've never met this lady, but it's all on the phone. And that obnoxious Grace Hill, she'll be eating her own words. I've recorded her hanging up on me, telling me that place is suitable, and hanging up on me. And I told Juliet, and she said, what? But she's got no authority over what. Surely you should be able to go above her. Honestly, I've been passed around like a hot potato. So many people lying. It's no wonder that good people just, you're not going to survive unless you put your foot down. But it's that gaslighting. They tell you that you're being aggressive, even though you're fighting for your rights, basic human rights that you're fighting for. But they make you feel like you're in the wrong. Do you know what I mean? So that's why afterwards I said, thank you so much, Karen. I said, I'm in two minds. You know, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. She understands. I said, because it must be hard for you under the current climate. You know, I would not want to be in Karen's position, in the same way I wouldn't want to be on the phones manning Victim Support. Because you imagine the headache you must come away with. So it's like the paramedics that were here last night. They were nice girls, unlike PC Soph. Stupid, horrible little girl. What? You were convicted. You got 5 minutes to get out of here, or you're gonna what? 24 hours of non-stop torture she put me through on the 7th of October. She yanked me in the handcuffs as if I was a horse on reins. The IOPC wouldn't investigate it. See, the thing is, what Victim Support need to do is listen to people, but if it gets too much for them, then they must realise this is above and beyond. And this means that everyone, all of us, everywhere, together as one, need to fight this, because it's just a few people at the top of this pyramid. I've just remembered something. Getting right off the story here, doing this. Outside Kennedy Space Center, when I was 7 in 1989, my mother taking pictures of us, and I'm doing the walk like an Egyptian thing. But outside the pyramids, 10 years later, I've got my NASA cap on. I don't know what made me say that. It's because of this thing. Yeah. But everybody has to complain. Everyone needs to complain about the same. Everyone needs to stand up for the same thing. And then because victim support, the support, it shouldn't be like this. There should not be a housing crisis, which brings me to the last thing I want to say before I end the stream, which is I'm subscribed to what's his name, Paul Joseph Watson on YouTube channels. Is called Anything Goes, and he's always making live streams. He'll say, oh, as if things couldn't get any worse, and then he'll come out with something else, and it's often the same thing: illegal immigrants coming over here, right? And his most recent live stream was I don't know what part of the country, I wasn't paying attention, but basically illegal immigrants are now America's got the same problem. Illegal immigrants are being put up in 5-star, or is it 4-star? Well, luxury hotels. And I saw one of them. He showed what one of them looks like, and I thought, crumbs, that's right up my alley. A Tudor style hotel. Because I'm not going to say this because it's one of on my bucket list still, if I still get there. My grandmother was related to Anne Boleyn, and I'm named after Anne Boleyn. I don't have her blood though, because my grandmother adopted my mother, but I'm named after her. And bizarrely enough, I had a fixation of her when I was 12, and my mother was going to make me a costume and everything. So I like all things Tudor-ish, Tudor style, so to speak. Even, the idea of being in a nice Tudor building, and all of that. And I thought, yeah, all that looks nice. So these illegal immigrants are being put up. Because if they claim asylum here, even if they're not from a war-torn country, they get everything. And apparently they're complaining about the food, even though they're getting proper luxury accommodation and everything thrown in the mix, food and everything they need. But they're complaining about the food because it's not what they're used to. All the while, people in this country, born in this country, are struggling to pay for the heating and whatnot. And people who've been in my position, who've been homeless, have been put in these shitholes, pardon my French, but they really are, some of them. That's why I said the irony that the last place that I was in, that I've been keeping away from my safety, that was decent temporary accommodation, but they put the most dangerous criminals in there. So you see where I'm going with this. But some of these places, absolute shitholes. I would not put a rat in, I felt perhaps I should feel sorry for the bed bugs, of the Cavendish. Oh, hang on. It said unstable connection. So I don't know if I'm being tampered with right now. But even I was just going to say that even the Cavendish Hotel has had pictures of people with bed bug sores on their arms. That's the Cavendish. That's the Cavendish where PC Soph got in my face and said, get out, even though they've had thousands of pounds out of me. And that's a hotel that used to be like the the Grand many moons ago, and now it's going so downhill. It's going to end up like the Saffron was. Mark my words, especially if they carry on treating people like this. Britannia is one of Britain's worst hotel chains. And the guy who owns the Britannia hotels, I haven't sent the email yet, but he's so rich. He's one of the richest people in the UK, I think. And he owns the Britannia hotel chain. And it's one of Britain's worst hotel chains. You have to read the reviews. I gave them another chance after my review a few years ago was 40 Towers Eat Your Heart Out. And honestly, you should have read the stories. I was being threatened with the police. Other people were being threatened with the police. Someone found a mouse and they said to the staff, would you get rid of the mouse? And they said, we don't want to touch it. It's just, I said a few live streams back that just like at the White Hart Hotel, because that went downhill. That's a Tudor hotel in Lewes. I used to go there for the swimming and the sauna and steam room. Oh gosh, it like the Cavendish. It seriously, I had a look at the reviews. I was laughing so much. I was laughing out loud. These carpets don't look like they've been hoovered since 1986 or something. I walked into, it's the way people word it as well. But even one of the other reviews was I walked in and it was like a scene from CSI. There was what looked like a puddle of blood on the floor, and they described the toilet, moldy, old, stained urine around the bowl or something, toilet bowl, something like that. It's the way people word it, though. It's so funny. I tripped. I nearly went flying. Then it was on through. It's the way they word it. It's so. I'm gonna go and have another look now. It's so funny. You just have to read if you want to get. Sometimes it's the simplest things that make you laugh. I wanted a simple YouTube video of how to simply arrange flowers in a vase properly, and some dear woman in America, she got them just, and it looked awful, but she was such a dear lady. She just said, and there you go. And you look at the comments underneath. Awful, horrendous, capitals, that kind of thing. And it's the little things. It's the little things that can really, really put tears in your eyes and a smile on your face. But even one of the reviews at the Cavendish Hotel, when they said a woman was in bed with her partner, or was she on her own? I can't remember. But there was a woman, and they were in bed or something. I think they were in bed, and they said that a man walked in and don't know if it was a member of staff. It was someone that was doing a night shift, and they just walked right in. And apparently they said, and in the review they quoted what the employee said. He went, "Fuck me." Just walk right. Can you imagine how terrifying? I think it was a couple, but if that had been a vulnerable young woman on her own, Starkers or something. But the reviews at the Cavendish just get worse and worse over the years. I mean, Zita said to me, what is wrong with that? She's in 2018, she said sometime after that, she said at least she said Joanne no longer works there after I left my 40 Towers Eat Your Heart Out. That was back in 2018. And then about a year or two later, she said, well, don't worry, she doesn't work here anymore. She's no longer here. So, but someone must have said something about, I don't know. I played a recording of someone threatening to beat me up to one of the ladies on the desk who, this is where they show their fakery, and then she must have said something behind my back. This was last year when I was spending, I'd spent thousands. I'd been there since the summer of this year, and I had to move around. So you can imagine the stress. It's like moving house every few days or few months. Can you imagine the stress? You've got to get all your stuff together. It's extremely, people have no idea the effect. I've learnt the effect it has. And not feeling able to get yourself washed and dressed, and you don't see much daylight. And another heat, and I hardly saw daylight at all when I was being attacked and assaulted at Elms Avenue. That's something I need to remember when I go to this new room. Every time I think that I should feel bad, I need to think of all that suffering. Do you see what I mean? So basically, what I'm trying to say is, Zita, whatever happened last year when someone said something, and I always think that Darren's behind it. She said, "You're not usually like this." I said, "No, I'm not. Why are you?" Okay, well, we'll draw a line under it. And then Adam bullied me one time because I was being messed around. The lifts broke. They had people with disabilities and elderly people. They had to use the dangerous, it's not very safe, the staff lift. It's like one of those, with the old metal shutters. Insane, absolutely insane. And then that broke down at one point. Insane. Because you got about 4 floors. A lot of elderly people come here in coach loads. Can you imagine? But yeah, Adam, who gave me a drink on the house, a glass of orange, to apologise for his bullying that nearly made me suicidal. And then Juliet came down and calmed me, because I could have, honestly, I was in my slippers. I could have just gone and killed myself at that point. Now he's not sorry, because he's like, I never did anything. I don't want you here. Why say sorry? Why take? Darren says, don't. I understand Darren when he says, don't get involved in the aggro. They want you to get upset. They want a reason to arrest you. We well rehearsed in all of this. So the fact that recording I played again in the last live stream, I won't play it again, where Zita is saying, if this was on Halloween, this was on the 31st. I don't like to say that's October. Obviously, it brought out the demons in PC Soph. You've got 5 minutes to get out, or we'll get you out. So sorry, I keep making that noise, but so I just. What happened to Zita saying we'll draw a line under it? And she said she didn't hang up on me. I've got her recorded saying I'm going to hang up on you. I said, I got you recorded. So just to save face, was saying, I've got you on the cameras. Yeah, and I'm thinking, do you know what this Zita said to me, I've got a sister who's going through problems. You just need to take it one step at a time. She's following orders from the manager. Do you know what? That's why I said to her when I was being threatened and bullied out of there, they made the reservation. They've had thousands of pounds out of me. Fuat's an idiot. He's a cock. Sorry, I don't usually swear, but I've been swearing so much. They've had thousands of pounds out of me. They won't have me there because I complained too much. Read the bloody reviews. I'm not surprised. People are being covered in. This is a private hotel. Bed bug sores. As I was walking out, I said, you deserve all the so-called abuse you get then. If that's what they call abuse, they deserve all the abuse. Do you know what? People throw that word around like it's like people use the word abuse like there's no tomorrow. They just throw it all around the place. It's an overused word like the word racist or homophobic. Abuse. You're being abusive. Why? Because because I disagree with you, because you've let me down and I'm a little bit upset, because I'm walking away from you rather than didn't want to hear what I had to say. So why was I sitting down with the crisis team after being taken down from Beachy Head? They actually said Alison and Becca from the crisis team at the hospital actually said to me, we don't want to hear what you've got to say. I said, well, why am I here then? So I walked out. And because of that, they said I was aggressive. They've done it before. Someone from the crisis team, Janie, this was a few years ago, for the first time ever in my life, I looked at what they were writing. I'd never looked at what they'd written before. And I said to Janie, this is from the crisis team at the hospital. I said, why are you writing that I'm aggressive? Well, I'm sorry, Brian. Yeah. Okay. So this is the kind of thing that, I know I've said it all before, but I can't under it. It's unfathomable. It's unfathomable. Unbelievable. And there are people who come out of university and do the same thing. They haven't got a clue. You've got to actually go through these traumatic things as well as be that person to know what the hell it's like. Some people will never know what it's like to have a mental breakdown for whatever reason. Maybe they've got people to turn to or but I just cannot believe it. Do you know, when I was a child, when someone said to me, my mother's died, I'd be like, I'm so sorry. As a child, I'm so sorry. Because I had nightmares about my mother dying. It was my life biggest fear. When it actually happened, I couldn't understand why I wasn't reacting. Then eventually I had a mental breakdown. Everything built up. And they treated me like I was a bloody criminal, and that's why they've started targeting me. But it's not like I wasn't already begging for help, but they didn't want to know. So I was just left to Get on with it. This is what I'm saying. This is what gets me about people. And my godmother was so horrible. Well, my mother died, and then Darren's mother did the same thing. And I thought, you start to see how people's true colours. And I thought to myself, well, they obviously don't have a close. My mother cried for me because we were close. She wasn't crying first. She apologized. She apologized that she was going to die. She apologized to me because she said, I'm worried for Bryony. She's got no one else. I don't want to get emotional now. But there we are. I think I've just hit the nail on the head there, really. But there we go. There's a massive housing crisis, though, with what I said about the illegal immigrants coming over here. And I'm not being a hypocrite, because I'd probably do the same thing if I came from a country that was a bit crap, and and people were saying, oh, get in a boat and come with me, and they give you everything free. I would probably, who wouldn't do that? But however, if you know that country is tiny like ours, a blip on the map, already overcrowded, people dying on the streets, they're breaking into people's homes. Some of them, they literally get out of the boats in Hastings and just run off into the illegally. They're criminals, some of them, and they're breaking into people's homes in Hastings. They're arming themselves. Anyway, there we go. So so whatever, but I said 6 years ago, before they put me through all this torture, I spoke out at the Eastbourne People's Assembly in front of Councillor Alan Shuttleworth, head of housing, Cabinet for Community. He didn't want to know when I was complaining about leaks. They illegal fraudulent section 184s. The plumber said that the washer and the tap had gone. That little shit, that oaf, excuse my French, that oaf, great big fat oaf. Sorry, it makes you say certain things, though. Evil little creature. John Tutty. I've had bipolar and I've slept rough. Yeah, well, why then did he take pity on me, then write fraudulent section 184s? As if I was a nutcase, as if I was one of these nutcases. Because that's what they're doing, people's mental health. I said, why did you type that stuff? Because Felicity told me to. This is the housing officer who now works in Sainsbury's. Eastbourne Borough Council said he still works for them. No, he doesn't. I've seen him working in Sainsbury's. I don't somehow think he would be working for you and Sainsbury's. Felicity, that bitch, and her mother, Karen. Oh, you poor thing. That Karen, her mother, has been a teacher. Yeah? A head teacher, sorry. Yeah, well, my grandmother was a teacher. A proper lady, yeah? Adopted my mother and gave her a privileged upbringing. You, Karen, a headmistress at a school. You. I know she can't see me, but talking as if she can see me. Exploiting the vulnerable. She knew Darren said to me, oh, she could be like your mother. I said, Darren, you don't know that. And you didn't know my mother. I lost my mother to cancer. I said, I had a hoarding and clutter problem. What did you do, Darren? Why were you playing with the police? Why did you get them? I had some pills prescribed to me. I said, I don't need them. And Darren was getting so obsessed over these pills that I don't take. I don't them. But because he was being an idiot at the time, I threw them down in the gutter in the grating. Do you know what he did? He called the police to find them. He called the fucking police, the nutcases, to find them. They had a torch apparently. I'd shut the door on him, didn't want to know. All the times he's left me to sleep rough and everything. The police are like with their torches. And David said that they'd shone a torch on the lower ground flat, and he said I was in my shorts, and he said I don't want them peering in on me. The torch. God. Oh, I've got some stories about these places and these people. It's just such a shame because some of these places have got such potential, but the landlords, the Filipino couple that were on steroids because of bed bugs, I spoke up on their part. They were housed, but you know what happened to me? I spoke on their behalf, saying that they were on Beth was on steroids because of bed bugs. She stripped herself down. She wasn't embarrassed. I don't think Filipino women are embarrassed about these things. Well, she wasn't. She stripped. It's like, how do you do? Look at me. Look at my bare body. No, but she was showing me the sores all over her. And sorry, I'm just laughing about something. I was just laughing about when David said she went, look right into her groin. Very close to her groin. Yeah, it's the way he said things. But I spoke on their behalf because there was a problem with the heating. She was told to wear a coat in bed. So the leaks were, there was a leak from the drain pipe that you had to dodge when you went outside because it would whoosh water. She threw in other people's clutter with my stuff. I can't get to that stuff. It's now in Hailsham, and I'm paying for other people's clutter because I complained. They changed the locks. It was February 2018, and it had started to snow. They changed the locks. My stuff was in there because I complained about serious things. Changed the locks. I went up Beachy Head in the snow. And PC Scott Wanker Franklin Lester, do you know, the manager of Poundland's right. He is an idiot. He's an absolute. Even Jenny Haynes said he picks on the vulnerable. And I've reported her to the legal ombudsman for being a bent solicitor because she wanted me to plead guilty to their crimes because get a probation officer to help you with housing when you're an innocent, vulnerable, law-abiding. Anyway, I'm just repeating a lot of the same old thing, but if it gives people a laugh and a bit of whatever, then that's good. So I'm going to go and have a bath now, and I'm saying too much, but I've got a lovely lavender bath bomb, and I make the most of it because I love my baths, and I don't get to have them because the lady who owns that flat, she had a shower, and there's a shower at the place I'm going to. Funnily enough, at the Saffron, the notorious Saffron, let me just say this, is a terrible, terrible place. But I just wanted to say the only good thing for me that gave me that little bit of sanity was having my own bath. And because it was one of those old-fashioned places, it was a Victorian-sized bath. You know, the big, or Edwardian. I'm 6 foot tall. That this is how big the bath was. It was big enough to lie right down in and still have a bit of room at the back. I loved it. It's like a mini swimming pool, you know. I love that. I need that. So despite all the screaming and shouting and drunks and everything, having that bath was great. So because everyone else, people were saying I must have had the 5-star room because other people were having to share. They said my room is terrible. I say why? What's it like? They'd say, oh, there are things crawling, there are things falling apart. I mean, one man really made me laugh at Cavendish Place, the place where Karen and Felicity. He was trying to get out of 44 Cavendish Place, that hellhole, and he came back and he said he went to the Saffron, and I knew what he would say when he come back, and he went, his face with his glasses as well, bless him, he went, what a shithole. It's the way he said it, his face. And one of the other funny things I there was something I liked about Mark. Oh, bless him. I wonder if I could contact him. He sent me a message. He had me still in his mind. I liked him. He suffered with trauma because of his father. Really bad. He said his father sounds like a psychopath. When he was a boy, he's sitting on the sofa, and he said his dad got a knife and went and stabbed it into the sofa beside him to scare him. And I said that's the kind of psychopath he had in his house. So to some degree I can relate. Well, even though I absorbed trauma, but he was on the receiving end, and you only have to see it in the person's face like this. But Mark, he was funny. I remember one time Mark must have been able to read my mind, because I was talking to him one time and I said it was almost it was almost a psychic moment. I said, there's one thing that really annoys me, and he actually said it. I couldn't believe it. It's like a psychic moment. He said, oh, something that annoys me. Nose whistling. And I said, I don't believe it. I said, that's what I was going to say. I said, I've never known anyone else to say that. It's the way. So not only was he psychic, it's what he then said. He said, oh God, yeah. I just think to myself, well, blow your nose. I need to think about things like that. I've been concentrating on all the dark stuff. I'm going to go away and think about that, because that really made me laugh. Anyway, I've never known anyone else to say that. I thought, because I said to him, I thought it was just me that had a problem with that. And it was like a psychic moment. He just said it. Nose whistling. And it's so blunt. Oh. Just the way he said it in such a blunt way, I just think, oh, God, blow your nose. Anyway, there we go. That's my kind of humor. So I'm going to end the stream now. But yeah, I could go on forever about these places, but it's good to say something funny. Anyway, I'll say over and out for now. I've obviously, I haven't been well, and I've been very angry and swearing about a lot of things, but yeah, I keep smiling. Okay. Thank you for the likes, by the way, and over and out.